Welcome to the Dental Construction Insider, your podcast. If you're doing a startup, whether it's going to be a tenant improvement, you're going to do the big ground up, you're going to expand, or you're going to remodel. We're your go to people. We're here to help answer questions and help you feel more confident in your process. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know how we can help. We're here to serve. Don't forget to follow us on social media at all our different handles. They're everywhere. So yeah. All right. So I think today I've had some interesting questions for you, John. The floor plan design master. You do so many, man. It's just like, you know. So let's take off your custom house hat and let's put on your dental one that you use. You're often asked, from what I hear from Veronica, because she's on the calls with you, that they want a bigger break room or a bigger lobby or private restroom. Is there many of those offices like that?
Yeah, I would say that the questions that kind of come across are in certain stages. So I kind of know what questions, or I can expect what questions are going to be asked at certain stages of the design process.
Yeah.
Or design development. Some dentists are a little bit more focused on how many chairs they can get, or how much production can they squeeze out of this suite. Or if they're looking at the next one over, I want to squeeze what I can out of this one, and make sure to design to where we can connect and have connectivity between the new suite as well, to where we can melt them together. So it depends, because we do get so many dentists that are in different stages of their career, or whether it's a startup or whether they already have offices. Some of them, we see a trend line, right? It starts at a high anxiety or a high stress level, and we can see it kind of taper off once they, get a little bit more experience, or, after their second or third office, after their third or fourth kid, or whatever it may be. But there's generally a downtrend in this, like, emotional discomfort / stress level that we notice, at least.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess I could see where
and again, we have such a wide range of projects that we've done. We've been lucky enough to get all of these questions and kind of consolidate them in information that we can kind of produce internally, and kind of create a substructure that leads to successful designing of these offices. But to answer your question, I think some of them are mainly concerned first on how much production they can get. After that,
how many chairs,
right?
Which means how many chairs can they get, right?
And after that, it's like, okay, well, is my break room or staff area sufficient enough? After that, it's like, well, what about storage? Like, so it's like it goes down the line almost and some dentists have different priorities, so those can be rearranged in some kind of way sometimes. But generally, yes. So you have all those questions at the different stages, and then after that, it's like, okay, well, what about my lobby space? Are you sure my chandelier and everything like that will kind of fit in that area? And I think those small things come after, but it's you have to follow, I guess, a general rule.
Yeah.
Right, and you go past a certain amount of ops. Obviously, you're going to need more countertop space for stuff to go on it, because it's going to fill up really quick. So there's.
So I guess it's based off like how many chairs they're going to get in that office, how much support they need. I know there's that that square footage rule that we follow, and so that we were taught, which makes sense, and then we expand from there. Right, because not everybody wants that same, very dense practice. Because now they've heard different things from other people, and they're like, "Hey, I want more storage spaces because I got to put my seasonal decorations someplace. I have to put my vacuum someplace and my mop, and that may not fit, in the mechanical closet or mechanical room, and I have other stuff that I don't want in there, right? And so I get it, because we've heard from them. We've heard, them tell us that, and as you're designing them, and it makes sense that, you know, when it's a startup for them, it's
Right.
6, 7 chairs, 5 to 7 chairs, whatever it may be, that you build, and then your break room is so big because you're working with that space. But when they come to you, because they're already established, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna take this large square footage, but I'm only gonna build out X amount because I might rent the other side out. Um, but I want to be able to have the ability to be able to expand into that in the future. So then you start designing from there for that kind of scenario,
Mm-hmm.
and still telling them like, hey, we can have if you're gonna have your morning huddles in the break room, fine. We can kind of accommodate that. If you don't want to have them in the lobby, because typically you would do it in the lobby, but then you can't because patients get there early, and you can't like lock them out. Say like, okay, and your first patient's going to come in at, I don't know, say 7, uh, and you should have your morning huddle before you unlock the door. But sometimes people just get there like 20 minutes or 15 minutes early, which is not me. I get there like 30 seconds before my appointment. I sit in the car and wait, and then I go inside. No, so yeah, I can understand that point. The private restroom thing, I mean, that's obvious reasons, but I've never understood, I mean, I really don't think it's that.
Yeah, I noticed that that's definitely more not on the startup side.
That's definitely not on the
So
startup side, but
once
it's
you get out of that
established.
startup side, the questions that I start getting are more of the amenities and
Hmm.
stuff that's not necessarily needed, but it's wanted before
Yeah.
convenience or um,
So there's things on the startup side that don't get in the design
right,
because
because
of
it's
budget reasons.
budget reasons and it's focused on efficiency and production.
Production, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But then they're established docs. Let's see if I
s-
don't
uh,
kick this table.
Established stocks are more on the amenities for not only their staff
Yeah.
but also looking at increasing and engaging on that
Hmm.
patient experience, not only patient flow, right, but patient experience, and focusing on more of the experience, I guess, the
Hmm.
overall experience from the patient side. I think is what they kind of start focusing on once they are a little bit more on the established side.
That makes
So
sense. I mean, yeah, they just want that experience to be better, so don't mind spending a little bit more money.
right.
It's too bad that there's not like a happy medium where we could find, you know, to tell them like, look, this is what we've seen,
Hmm.
based on the number of years that we've been doing this,
Oh, and selections.
that you can do now.
Selections are also higher end on the more, of
Yeah,
course, the more
yeah,
established offices, of course.
yeah.
But
That doesn't really help you with anything other than the look, right? I mean,
right,
because it
no,
doesn't help you with case acceptance. It doesn't. It's just a little more. But amenities are things that would make it more conducive for you to be in that office, and your staff maybe
sure,
are different. So we probably need to put a list together, that kind of stuff, to tell them like, look, these things might cost you a little bit more, but for yourself and your staff
right.
longevity, to
Yeah,
feel good about coming to that office, you probably should do X.
that makes you so much stronger. As especially as a startup business,
Mm-hmm.
you have your branding on point, you have your logo on
Mm-hmm.
point, and along with that, you have um, everything that kind of falls into place for you
Mm-hmm.
when it comes with, for instance, the design development strategy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say the things that I remember hearing the established docs say, and their staff especially, mostly their staff. I hear their staff say that they like the bigger break room, that they like more space, that they have more space for the actual lockers in there. They have more countertop space, more storage space, more sitting space. And that's not all of that. All the staff are going to be in that break room, either at the same time or even, in different, they take different lunches, because usually there's a kind of large practices that will make those amenities for them. But I always hear them like, man, we were so tight in the other office. You know what? Let me take that back. Actually, I think it's the sterilization in the lab that they like. That's bigger because they're like, we have more countertop space. We have more working room. We're not, bumping hips when we're walking through these rooms together. Um, we have more storage and be able to put stuff away and have more organization. They like
Right.
that. They like it to be organized. And then the second one would be the staff room that I've heard them say like, God, man, I remember we were like having to like, we have 2 refrigerators now.
Right.
But before we were having to stack all our stuff in the refrigerator and blah, 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 this and that. And they're like, we have 2 fridges and we're able to like,
Right.
organize our meals, when they eat there. Most people do, they still do leave when they're on their lunch. They don't really eat there. Most of them.
Well, and I think in a market that's already so saturated
Mm-hmm.
that you use those things in order to stick out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only to the patients and improve experience with the patient, but also retaining staff
Yeah.
and retaining a positive and a well lit, a well spaced working environment
Yeah.
is also conducive to retaining staff. But
I think so. I think you got to, you got to like
so the more that they're able
take
to
care of them.
stick out and
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. You know where we see that a lot is in the marketing companies, the dental marketing companies.
yeah.
I see it, on Instagram and Facebook, whenever, just like the dental practices do. But the dental marketing companies will have these events. They'll have these things that they go out to for team building and doing stuff, and trying to keep their staff engaged. Same thing with dental offices, right? They go to do lunch and learns. They go to bowling or movies, or they go on cruises and stuff, right? That's all about keeping staff engaged. So if you design an office with the staff in mind, have you ever had one with the foosball table or shuffleboard?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Pool table?
No.
You know what? We should have the staff. Staff, I want you to comment on this video. I want you to tell us what amenities you would like in your dental practice that would help, pass the time. Is it an arcade game, right? Like in the break room or someplace? Is it
I know there's been more of like a lounge type of area where we've done like
a lounge? Yeah.
couches.
The cigar room? The cigar room in there? Oh my gosh. Do you want like a room where you can go in there in front of a camera and like just talk, like if you're doing one of these reality shows where they go and they put person on camera and they start talking, oh man, Miss Jones came in today and she said she flossed and she lied.
Right.
She lied. She did not floss. I can tell.
There should be
Blah blah blah.
a meditation or like a spa room for
Yeah.
the staff.
Or Miss Johnson came in and she owed $2 and she didn't want to pay. The staff, you guys need to comment. You need to tell us, like, what amenities would you like for your office that you practice in now? You guys can stay anonymous if you want. But I think that would be, because we hear from staff, especially when we're doing, a more seasoned or a doc that's established, like I was saying, and we go in there and they're happy about the sterilization,
Well,
the lab, and
especially
the
when
break room.
we've seen so many recently that they have such a good team that
Yeah.
they're not having to worry about the day to day. They're not having to micromanage
Yeah,
or they're not having
yeah.
to do oversight. They just have a really, really good team, a
Yeah.
good synergy, good energy. And I think along with that, of course, the doctors lead that. They start that whole culture.
Yeah.
But I think, especially with some of these seasoned and more experienced dentists, they're also not so concerned on yes, production, of course, they're concerned on that, but they're more engaging on the staff side too.
Yeah.
To what can I, or just to make sure that they're taken care of as well. So that's the interesting part to see.
Yeah. And I think for the dentist is happy that they got a bigger private office.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, no, I'm going to keep it small because
Yeah.
this small office got me this big office and I don't need it. And some are like, no, I'm going to maintain my private office that's small, but I'm going to add a restroom. All of them always add
Yeah.
a private restroom
Yep.
when they do their bigger, after their 5 or 10 year lease has gone up and they do their other office that's going to be theirs. Or they consolidate them like we talked about in another video where some of these guys that are seasoned already or been around, that we helped them initially with their first, are like consolidating their 2 or 3 offices into one big office that have everybody around. But that's in smaller towns. Usually it's a smaller market when they do that, because it's like it's another 10-minute drive or 15-minute drive or from one to another. Not like a big city like Dallas or Houston or even San Antonio where could be a 30-minute drive. Like no, we'll keep that office on the north side and we'll put this one, like northwest or something where it's 20-30 minutes away, so they don't compete. Yeah, but these are the smaller markets that they do that, thinking about it now. Yeah, I mean, so I know that initially when you're doing your design development, they're always thinking in a startup like, hey, we need the break room, bigger for my staff when we meet. But they're not necessarily all going to be in there. You're talking, 3 people when you start initially, and then, maybe 6 or so after you get established. That's not a lot of people for a big break room.
Yeah.
Lobby, your patients sit in there too long before you call them back anyway. So you don't. And I know if they bring people with them, okay, but you need to make room for that.
Yeah,
But
I mean
that's
that's
not a
what
non-production room.
that's
Yeah,
what we've seen post COVID is a smaller lobby as
smaller
well.
lobby.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and I know most people will wait in their cars instead of waiting
Some
in the
of them
lobby.
still do that. So we
So
do that on remodels right now. We have them, when we're doing a remodel and we're phasing that out, and it comes time to do the front office remodel, we have them wait in their cars and we bring them around, or they bring them around a different area. So we're doing that on a few jobs right now, because they have bigger break rooms, so they could use the break room as a staging area.
yeah,
All right. Well, I hope that answered something.
yeah,
So
noticing trends in the
yeah,
industry.
noticing trends on the industry. You don't initially. You'll have that big break room. You'll have a bigger lobby. You don't necessarily need it. It can be, it's not a production room, so it can be small. You don't need a big doctor's office either. But the second time around, a third, then you usually start getting bigger because
Yeah.
your staff gets bigger. Staff needs, I think, amenities. I think the key point here is the culture you want to build. You want to be efficient, but you also know that you want to be able to lure and get good staff members, because if they're happy, they're going to treat the patients well too, and they're really gonna like coming in. I was talking to the doc yesterday, and on a Zoom call, and he was, we talked after 6, and he was talking to me about what he wants to do, and his staff was leaving for the day, and they all go to his office and say, hey, we'll see you later, doc. Okay. And he was like, oh, okay, bye. And he's saying bye to all of them at different times as we're talking. He goes, I'm sorry about that, man. He goes, they're leaving and they come over here. And, looking at his office, they have to make an effort to go to his office to say bye for the day before they walk out the door to leave. So I'm like, that's a good culture in that office. They all love their doc. I can imagine if we went over there and tried to talk to him, we'd have the gatekeepers, like, trying to, protect him from, talking to us, because they think that, we're like one of these other vendors. But, then they realize, like, oh, no. Oh, yeah. You guys that are helping us with the remodel, or the new office. Yeah, come on back, But, normally they're gatekeepers. So you can tell that there's a good culture at that office, because they all make an effort to go to him and say bye before they leave, because it's not the path on the way out. They come in, say bye, and then they take off out another door. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was
Yeah.
like 5 or 6
Or a
when I did that
spotless
too.
office, another good indicator. You know what I mean? Like
Another
really,
spotless
really,
office.
yeah,
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, when they invite us in an office, we're like, oh, like this. Anyway, looking around, like, all right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep your office clean.